Hello and welcome everybody. I'm here with a YouTube video on ethics in e-research. So we have been familiar with the term ethics. For some people it may be values, it may be integrity, it may be honesty. Broadly defining ethics as a set of norms for conduct that distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Now, e-research has revolutionized data collection and analysis, yet it brings forth ethical challenges. This presentation will explore best practices and essential considerations for navigating the challenges, ensuring responsible and ethical conduct in e-research. E-research or electronic research refers to the use of digital tools and platforms to conduct research. This method has opened up new opportunities for innovation and collaboration, but it also brings unique ethical challenges. And we are going to discuss why ethics is essential in e-research and how they impact the credibility of research and its effect on society. NIH Clinical Center researchers published seven main principles to guide the conduct of ethical research. So these are basically a set of guiding rules or principles that have been categorized by NIH Clinical Center researchers so that they can be followed to make our research unbiased and honest. So these seven guiding principles are social and clinical values, scientific validity, fair subject selection, favorable risk-benefit ratio, independent review, informed consent, respect for potential and enrolled subjects. Moving forward, these principles may look very clear, but their application in e-research still presents some challenges like digital data management. So everybody manages large set of data while doing the e-research. So these data must be handled very responsibly, accurately, and reliably. Then anonymity versus traceability. So we need to make a balance. Our researchers, while conducting the e-research, they must try to strike a balance between anonymity of a subject or traceability of a subject. Because in today's world, every data can be traced back to its source. Yes, because we use online platforms and the identities of the data or the people or the subject can be easily unmasked. So we need to strike a balance between anonymity and traceability. Then global variations in ethical standards. So e-research often involves people from different countries, and their different countries have their own guidelines, ethical guidelines. So while navigating these varying standards requires careful considerations and adaptations to local context. Wherever we are going to do the conduct the e-research, we must abide by their local rules, local ethical standards. So to make the matter more clear, let us take a case study. For example, like ethical dilemma in research. So the scenario or the example is challenges. Let's consider a real world case study. So in the real world case study, for example, the scenario is a research team used publicly available social media data without obtaining consent from the users. So the data was analyzed to understand social behaviors during a crisis. Now let us critically analyze the above scenario. So while the data was publicly available, the users were unaware that the post would be used for research. So these raises questions about consent and privacy because anybody can take the data from the social media, download them, and use them for their own purpose. But there is ethical concerns. So the researchers should have their either anonymize the data to prevent any link to individual users or obtain consent before from the users before including their data in the study. And how to address the ethical challenges. So, to address the ethical challenges in e-research, researchers can adopt the following best practices: developing ethical guidelines, data security measures, regular ethical audits. So, before starting a project, researchers should make up their mind very clear what ethical guidelines to follow, what ethical guidelines to make during the conduct of e-research. So, these includes outlining how informed consent will be obtained and how data will be protected. Then data security measures. So implementing very robust security protocols such as encryption and security storage is essential to protect participant data from unauthorized access or breaches. Regular ethical audits. So conducting regular audits of research practices can help ensure that ethical standards are maintained throughout the research process, adapting to new challenges as they arise. Besides this, there are many other activities that the government of one country may define as misconduct, but it may not be legally punishable. But it can still be regarded unethical as other researchers, as other follow researchers. So, to conduct a super qualitative ethical practices, we need to follow much more points besides from this. There are many activities that the government of a country may not define as misconduct. It may not be legally punishable, but it may still be considered by many researchers as unethical practices. Yes, so these are sometimes referred to as other deviations from acceptable research practices and include a lot of words. Here are, I would like to present you some. Like you can see on the screen, including a colleague as an author on a paper in return for a favor, though the colleague not make a serious contribution to the paper. Using data, ideas, or methods you learn about while reviewing a grant or a papers without permission. And using an inappropriate statistical technique in order to enhance the significance of your research by passing the peer review process and announcing your results through a press conference without giving peer adequate information to your reviewer work. Conducting a review of the literature that fails to acknowledge the contributions of other people in the field of relevant prior work. Stretching the truth on a grant application in order to convince reviewers that your project will make a significant contribution to the field. Stretching the truth on a job application or curriculum writer. Giving the same research project to two graduate students in order to see who can do it the fastest. Then overworking, neglecting or exploiting graduate or postdoctoral students, failing to keep good research records, failing to maintain research data for a reasonable period of time, making derogatory comments and personal attacks in your review of author submission, promising a student a better grade for sexual favors, using a racist epithet in the laboratory, making significant deviations from the research protocol approved by your institution's Animal Care and Use Committee or institutional board review board for human subject research without telling the committee or the board, sabotaging someone's work, stealing supplies, books, or data. So these all points gives us an overview what makes our research unethical, and we should surely avoid them while conducting the research. In conclusion, ethics in e-research is not just about following rules, it's about ensuring that research is conducted in a way that respects participants, maintains integrity, and contributes positively to society. By adhering to the ethical principles such as informed consent, privacy, and transparency, and by being aware of the challenges unique to digital research, we can navigate the complexity of e-research with confidence and responsibility. Thank you very much. That was the video.